there have been a lot of rumors that we're about to face a complete collapse in the ability of retail outlets and businesses to get enough stock to put on their shelves. So Besant was asked about this, and this is what he said.
Um, when you are you worried about empty shelves because they say that a lot of these the supply lines and the cargo ships are being held up. A lot of people are saying turn it around with the tariffs this high. I don't want the product. Are you worried about empty shelves?
Not at present. We have some great retailers. I assume they pre-ordered. I think we'll see some elasticities. I think we'll see replacements, and then we will see how quickly the Chinese want to de-escalate.
Tomorrow's your day.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Well, there are some early indications that it's not fine.
Pre-order.
For example,
should be good for at least 11 days.
At least 11 days. By then, we'll have this thing wrapped up.
Yeah.
Z's been calling us like a 900 sex hotline. Yeah, empty port in Seattle raises concerns of empty shelves. So the ports in Seattle, some of the main ports in the country, a major economic driver in that region, empty. Miami ports, empty. Another major port.
Ramen soup doesn't expire. You could hold on to. You could eat ramen soup for the next year and a half.
Yeah, hopefully they ordered enough. Port of Los Angeles says shipping volume will plummet 35% next week as China tariffs start to bite. Quote, it's a precipitous drop in volume with a number of major American retailers stopping all shipments from China based on the tariff, said Gene Soroka, executive director of the Port of Los Angeles. Shipments from China make up about 45% of the business for the port, though some transport companies will be looking to pick up goods at other points in Southeast Asia to try to fill up their ships, Soroka said. Last week, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, CEOs all went to the White House to meet with Trump. This is Spencer Hakimian. He's an investor, certainly not a lefty. If you think Americans are angry now, just wait another 14 days for shelves to begin being empty in Walmart. Going to be an absolute fucking nightmare. And there's a little bit from Axios. The CEOs of three of the nation's biggest retailers, Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, privately warned him, meaning Trump, that his tariff and trade policy could disrupt supply chains, raise prices, and empty shelves, according to sources familiar with the meeting. Quote, the big box CEOs flat out told him the prices aren't going up. They're steady right now, but they will go up. And this wasn't about food. And he was told that shelves will be empty. Another official briefed on the meeting said the CEOs told Trump disruptions could become noticeable in 2 weeks. So a major financial analyst firm put out a report that made a lot of stir. Empty shelves, trucking layoffs lead a summer recession in Apollo's shocking trade fight timeline. So this is some of the article. If you look up that article, it actually links to their whole key point presentation. So yeah, you could see just the complete collapse in container ships coming out of China from about 70 to 40. I'm assuming that's per day. And they included this too, because they're giving an overall thesis about where they see the economy going. International arrivals to the United States down from some countries as much as 40%. Tourist arrival by air down about 30% overall. The economic impact of the tariffs imposed by the Trump administration will soon become apparent to everyday Americans and lead to a recession this summer, according to Apollo Global Management. Torsten Slok, chief economist at Apollo, laid out a timeline in a presentation for clients that showed when the impact of tariffs announced by President Donald Trump could hit the U.S. economy. Based on the transport time required for goods from China, U.S. consumers could start to notice trade-related shortages in their local stores next month, according to the presentation. Quote, the consequence will be empty shelves in U.S. stores in a few weeks and COVID-like shortages for consumers and for firms using Chinese products as intermediate goods. To support the idea that the U.S. economy is on the verge of recession, presentation also included data that shows new orders for businesses, earnings outlooks, and capital spending plans have all fallen sharply in recent weeks. So this is their timeline. It's April 2nd, tariffs announced, container ship departures from China to U.S. slowing. Early to mid-May, container ships to U.S. ports come to a stop. And as we saw at the beginning, we're already seeing some of that in some of the major ports. Mid to late May, trucking demand comes to a halt, leading to empty shelves and lower sales for companies. Late May to early June, layoffs in trucking and retail industries. Summer 2025 recession. Quote, the consequence will be empty shelves in U.S. stores in a few weeks and COVID-like shortages for consumers and for firms using Chinese products as intermediate goods, Slock wrote in a note to clients Friday. Now, Bloomberg did a pretty good overview on this. So here's some of what they said. Cargo shipments from China to U.S. have plummeted by as much as 60% since the U.S. raised tariffs to 145% in early April, and this reduction will soon be felt by American consumers. By mid-May, thousands of companies will need to replenish inventories, which could lead to empty shelves, higher prices, and COVID-like shortages, as well as significant layoffs in industries such as trucking, logistics, and retail. This is what we were talking about earlier. Now we're waiting to see the shelves really empty out, but you already have Temu charging a special international freight charge because of the tariffs. They had free shipping before. So now you see an order that would have been 138, it's 269. The import charges are $117. So it's almost doubling the cost of the item. Even when hostilities ease, restarting trans-Pacific trade will bring additional risks. The freight industry has reduced capacity to match weaker demand. That means a surge of orders sparked by a détente between the superpowers will likely overwhelm the network, causing delays and boosting costs. A similar scenario unfolded during the pandemic when container prices quadrupled and a glut of cargo ships jammed up ports. Quote, there will be a surge in ports and consequently for trucks and rail, creating delays and bottlenecks, said Lars Jensen, Chief Executive Officer of shipping consultant Vespucci Maritime. The U.S. tariffs on China came at a critical time for the retail industry. March and April is when suppliers start ramping up inventory for the second half of the year to fill orders for back-to-school shopping and Christmas. For many firms, the first holiday goods should be hitting the water bound for the U.S. in roughly 2 weeks. So these are some responses. We're about to face supply shocks and empty shelves. You'd be wise to stock up on essentials now. Purchase all major electronics and appliances for the year if you can. Staples like rice can be purchased in 20-pound bags, and it lasts forever. Panic buying is days away.
Yeah, no joke. That ain't no joke. Really isn't.
I know. I
I go to
laugh
Sam's Club right now. I got to leave early, folks. Sorry, show's over. I got to go to
later.
BJ's.
I'll take over.
Bees buy some rice.
James Tate here says the empty shelves were already beginning. Went to buy groceries this morning. There were shelves around the store that were empty and empty freezer cases. I actually know people who are not able to get certain things that they ordered because they got halted in transit. So yes, this is already starting to have an impact. People are not understanding what empty cargo ships from China means. It means no work for dock workers, no work for truck drivers, no work for retailers, fewer dollars circulating. The cascade effect is just mind-boggling. And in a lighter note, but we're going to have beautiful empty shelves, and it's something I think you'll be seeing very soon. We won't be the country of clutter anymore. It's called minimalism, okay? So, yeah, there you go. There you go. Making America great again. So much
Oh,
winning.
yeah, man. I mean, if you saw, I mean, yeah, you got a taste of it there. That was the sarcasm piece of it. But yeah, the replies I tweeted out, the replies to that post about the empty ports were just amazing. All of a sudden, the chuds are all hippies. All of a sudden, it's, hey man, don't you have enough stuff, man? You
Yeah.
know, somebody here. I'll
Yeah,
read some.
it's only cheap plastic goods that come from there. We
Right.
don't need those.
Yeah, MindMelt66 says we will save money not buying junk. Desert Vibes says maybe having less for a while will help bring about more appreciation for what we do have. Oh yeah, no, I'm sure if Joe Biden were president and the ports were empty, that's exactly what you'd be saying. Hey, maybe it's good for the soul to go without for a little while. Yeah, sure.
Hey,
Hilarious.
hey, man,
Adorable and hilarious.
why are you so into your stuff, man?
Yeah, right? You
It's
so into your
really,
stuff, man.
it's not good for you spiritually, man.
Just go touch grass, man. Not too much, because then you'll forget who Cat Turd is. We need you wired to your phone as much as possible. But go get in touch with the universe, man. You don't need all that stuff. No, it's
The
look,
best things in life are free, man.
the best things in life are free. Look, the obvious tumult that this is going to cause in terms of inflation and retail and supply chain and scarcity. Yes, I mean obviously that's stuff that everybody's been focused on. But what this story kind of touches on is something that I think fewer people have been focused on because it's sort of 2 degrees from the average person. Like the average person goes to a store, they see stuff, it's either there or it's
Right,
not. It's
right,
either
right.
cheap or it's expensive, so they get a sense of that right away. The other part of this, though, that is going to be devastating is the effect on logistics and transportation, which,
Right.
from the Republican standpoint, too, the number one employer by far of the Trump base, which is
Yep.
men without a college degree, is transportation.
Truck driving.
Trucking. Yeah,
Yep.
trucking.
Yep.
Exactly. So if there's no demand for that and you have layoffs in that industry, that's going to be devastating. And as the article mentions, if and when there is a detente and things get going, now you're going to have this flood of demand coming in.
Right.
That's something we
Well,
didn't see as much during COVID. You had supply chain issues, but I worked at a UPS warehouse during COVID. The demand was through the fucking roof, obviously, because people were locked in their houses, and so everything got shipped to their
right.
door, which
Right.
created, I mean, it was terrible. Obviously, I'm not advocating for it. I don't fondly remember those days, but you didn't have truckers going out of business. We actually needed more people in logistics,
The
more
blue
people in transportation. This could freeze out that industry, and that is devastating to the working class on top of the inflationary effect.
the Bloomberg article really got into this. They interviewed small business owners, people who own like children's clothing stores, toy
Yeah.
stores. They interviewed one business owner who was expecting to pay $200,000 for children's clothes coming in at the dock. The bill was $350,000. They refused delivery. They said we're a small business, we can't afford that.
Yeah, you
And
don't
in
just have that
terms
cash
of
on
the
you. Yeah.
container ship industry, this has caused a complete collapse in shipping rates. So these businesses are already under the gun. And in order to stay solvent, they've downsized very quickly to the point of, and they did some of this during the pandemic, where competing shipping companies will share container ships to
Right.
avoid any empty space in a cargo ship. They're doing that now. So even if tomorrow Trump calls off the tariffs, you're still talking about months of chaos. The damage has already been done. And you also have to take into account how long it takes for these ships to get to the United States. According to reports, you already have ships leaving China 40% empty. So even if you call this off now, it's going to be months of resetting back to normal. Jamie Dimon at JP Morgan Chase just said recession is probably the best case scenario at this point. It's almost inevitable, because this can't just be fixed now. Like, the damage has already been done. And according to the business owners quoted, because of when they have to order for the second half of the year for their big back to school and Christmas season, every week the damage becomes more irrecoverable. So not only are you talking about mass unemployment in these logistics, supply, driving businesses, you're also talking about mass bankruptcies for small businesses that can no longer get what they need. And arguing, buy it in America is absolutely ridiculous. From who? From like you need some kind of a strategy before you can tell people buy in America. You need, you know what you need for that? You need government investment. You needed an actual plan. You needed to actually reindustrialize before you started the tariffs. If all of a sudden you just hit tariffs, what, factories are going to grow up out of the ground? Where is this manufacturing coming from? People you're gonna go back to the Henry Ford days, start making kids' toys in the garage? Like, what do you think people are going to do?
Please clap.